Hello, viewers. This is Gilmer, and this is episode 65 of my Let's Play War in the East. I am playing as the Soviets, and it is June 11th, 1942, turn 52, and I am pretty much just playing out this turn, seeing what I can get done, and seeing if I can't actually get some good attacks in. That was obviously probably not what I should have wanted to do. That was a good attack. We will move him up. (102 to 46). That's pretty good odds. Let's see what more trouble we can get into. Yeah, there we go. That's a brigade and a division. I don't really want to stack them together. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a corps. It is. And we have units over here that are seemingly out of position. Brigade, army. I tell you, I really want to get a few more tank corps so that we can we'll have some strong breakthrough units to take advantage of any breakthroughs we have. So yeah, that was good. We got that unit to retreat some more. Alright, we'll do that attack. And there we go. That I didn't really expect that, to be honest. That was very surprising to me. Don't really want my headquarters unit sitting right there. This was the area where they just were completely pushing us back and destroying us and doing whatever they wanted to do. Which isn't very fun nor exciting to me. I almost want to pull these guys back. That's to me, that's a very, Crimea front. There we go. That's him right there. Good deal. Yeah, that's not going to work. That kind of battle is not the kind of battle I really want, but that is much more of what I want, even though we weren't able to prosecute that attack very well. I like it when I get 5 to 6 to 1 odds, even if they hold. I feel like eventually, if I'm constantly getting 2 reserves, I feel like if I'm constantly getting 6 to 1 or 7 to 1, my attacks will eventually start pushing through. to brigade, division, brigade. It's not quite what I'm looking for. Brigade. Move the air command back. We'll move that brigade there. That's a division. It's a bunch of tank brigades. Oh, maybe we can build them into a corps, which we just did. Division, brigade, division. So let's get the brigade out of there and see if we can't get a division in there. Now we gotta attach this to the 43rd Army to get this to work. And where the hell is the 43rd Army? There's the 43rd Army. Let's do this again. Sorry, I'm talking low. Brigade, division, division, and then when something like that happens, and I find myself having no clue where I was before. It's so many. Now let's see what the 32nd Army looks like. There it is. It's at 18 of 18. That's good. I was thinking I'd have more than 57,000 in that attack. Oh, we're getting another reserve. 127,000 men, surely. There we go. That's what I like to see. He's gonna hold. He did. Brigade, brigade, brigade. Good deal. We'll make them a division. Brigade, brigade. I just need to find one more tank brigade. Division, division, division. They're all in the first shock army. And we make them a corps. Just like that. Now we only got 14 admin points, so that's about it for building up our units this time. This guy looks like the best to go after. And the there you go. Although I gotta find a way to get around these or get through some of these guys, because I really, really, really need at least, at the very least, 2 hexes wide hole for me to try to move my troops through. Let's see if this works. Nope. Let's go to that report. No, that's not the one I wanted to do. That was me losing. Here it is, I think. Yeah. See how that's got a minus 20% and this one has a minus 25%? I think that's because they're attacking across water. And, it gives them a penalty because of that. Oh, hopefully this will work. Yes. Very nice. I can't get anybody into that one. He can't push through there. There's no way. That's ridiculous. That was a ridiculous attack. Two to one, and they retreated. All right, good. I still have these guys pocketed. That's nice. I don't want him near them. I definitely don't want him near them either. Because they just might move over there. If they move adjacent to just a headquarters unit that's not on top of a combat unit, it'll just route automatically. A headquarters unit will. So I don't like having them sitting by themselves, especially with these guys sitting there. That guy's got 37 movement. They have the 7th Panzer Division in there. Nice. That would be nice if we could get them to surrender. Oh, that's I'm not sure why he has. I'm sorry if you can hear the TV. I have the TV on, the football, American football, NFL, and usually I just turn the TV off completely, but I've got it on kind of in the background, kind of paying attention a little bit to what's going on. Good. Very nice. Yes, very nice, very good. Could this be the weakness? Could this be the weak area right here? I'm certainly looking for an area that's weak to kind of push through. Yeah, I know I keep talking about the South, but it's really going to be probably more of a target of opportunity in the sense that if I can get it here, if I can get my breakthrough here, then that's probably what I'm going to do, because there's the brigade, because and that's a corps. Why? There we go. Sometimes you have to just do that twice. Reset, redo it, reselect. That's just one unit's going to be in that attack. necessarily want to do that. Just 2 units there. But anyway, what I was saying about weakness is if this is the area where they're weak and they start falling back, then that's the area I'm going to attack in. If even though my preference is to go through here, if I can't push them back here, then I'll go wherever it takes me, because I'm ready for my breakout. 1942 is not going to be a breakout, but I'm hoping that by 1943 I will be strong enough to start really punching some holes in their lines and making them wish they had never attacked the Soviet Union. I mean, in real life they wish they never had, but I'm going to make them in this game wish they never had. I gotta make sure that the ones that are not on the front are in reserve mode so they can support, because it doesn't help if they're not in reserve mode. None of those can do an attack. Sure, why not? Yeah, that's not gonna win it, but I really kind of want to move them back. These guys back. Because that is Murderer's Row. Look at how much power they have in all three of those stacks. That's pretty rough. So which means I probably want to move these guys back too. There we go. This is the area where they really punched me in the nose. So let's put him in reserve. Let's put these guys in reserve. Let's put him in reserve. That's a rifle core, though. Let's not put him in reserve. Let's put him in ready. And then move that guy out. Move him up. Strengthen this little line here. This little area of the front. I'm gonna eat in just a little while, so I was thinking about doing 2 or 3 videos, but I don't know if I'm really gonna get a chance to do it tonight, because I know I skipped a couple of days, 3 days actually. So it's time to see. There's a brigade, a tank brigade. There's another one. So let's put him back here. Put him there. And now I won't be able to find a third one. Wait a minute. There's one. So these are all tank brigades. We'll probably attach it to the Bryansk front. I won't do it this turn, because if it puts, let's see what Bryansk is. There's no way they'll go over. I was thinking that if I attached these to the Bryansk front, then Bryansk would be over, but they aren't going to be. So we'll go ahead and we'll set them up we'll wait. We'll be ready. Unless I can do it now. How much is it? Not enough. It takes 20. Okay. And there you go. There are 2 brigades here. And a rifle division. So now there's 2 brigades here as well. So I'll just get. Oh, that's not where I was putting them. We'll get them ready for making them a corps next turn as well. I don't really want to. I'm sure there's other stuff. Next turn is mud. So Filipp Zhmachenko. I'll use him as my thumbnail because I've never heard of him, but he's, obviously a general on some level. I wish I understood this more. All this lend-lease and all that. I mean, obviously, if you look at it, it says 196,000 resources produced. I mean, I understand what a resource is, and 64,000 tons of oil produced. And, I understand that. I wish I understood it in relation to how much that helps or hurts me, the levels, if any. Ground element scrapping. We're scrapping the BT2 on in some. See, there is the 1932 version. 1932, a BT5 is a 34, and a BT7 is a 1937 version. Those are not good. That's not good. Let's look at 1941. We have, of the T-34, we have 5,797 tanks. And then the KV-1, the 1941 version, is 648. I wish there was a way, and they're talking about in War in the East 2, hopefully. I mean, it was suggested by a player. The developers didn't say one way or the other, but in War in Russia, you could change, if you had, let's look at one. In War in Russia, you could change this. You could change that to whatever tank you wanted to if you had the tanks. I mean, even if you didn't, let's say you had 30 tanks, 30 T-60s, and you had 28 T-34s. You could change that tank to a T-34 and he'd have 28 tanks instead of 30 because that's all they had. This War in the East doesn't allow you to do that, and I wish it did. But they're talking about that being put back in for War in the East too. The players, not the developers. I didn't see a developer say they were going to do it, but that would be awesome to do, because then instead of having it just go out randomly, I could say in this area have all the top, the most current units and most current tank versions, so that the punch here, if this is where I wanted to do my offensive, the punch here would be a lot stronger because of that. And I'm hoping they'll do that, because that would be awesome. I would love that, because it would help me out a lot, but that's neither here nor there, I guess. Well, I guess it is there, but not here. Because it isn't happening in this game, but it might happen in the next version of War in the East. They're thinking about doing a lot more things. They're thinking about adding a lot more of the land up here, because this land, this is Leningrad, And this is, the finish. There's a crap load more land way up here, but I don't think there was very much combat up there. So I don't know why they're thinking about adding it. I don't think it adds anything to the game. And then they're also thinking about redoing the whole supply situation and the air war situation. It's going to be more along the lines of War in the West. It's going to be an upgraded version. You get some people on one side for that and some people on the other. Some people don't really like the War in the West improvements. I mean, they think it's better than this probably, especially the supply situation or the supply part of the game in War in the West. But they still say it's still lacking, and I guess the concern is you make it too groggy or grognardy or however they say it. If you make it too micromanaging, it's not going to be fun. And one of the things that one of my criticisms of the Ageod games was in the early days was you had to keep worrying about supply. You had to keep having your little wagons of supply, and they didn't take it out, but they to end all wars, and I think in games after you can put it on easy supply, and then your troops will get supply if they're outside one of your friendly cities. And I think that's a little bit better because micromanaging supply is not what I think is really all that fun. It's there's certain things that you can make it quote unquote more realistic in that the flow of supplies is not as even, but you can also go to extremes for realism and make it not fun. Now, some people like the whole supply situation in Ageod, and I've gotten to the point where I don't hate it anymore. I think I've done a lot better with it, but I still kind of wish it was, there was a different way. Their supply system was a different way, because that honestly, the supply system in Ageod games was originally what kept me from playing the games a lot, because I just couldn't figure it out. I could not get supply to my units, and it just was very frustrating. And once I figured that out, the games kind of opened up for me, and I really enjoyed them after that. And that is probably, the supply situation and the command point situation in Ageod games were probably the hardest thing for me to finally get control of, because the command point situation in Ageod games are still a little tough in the sense that the way I play it is I just make sure that the command points are less than the total that it can have. I don't play around with all the different divisions and crap like that, because I don't want to micromanage it that much. So what I do is I'll just make sure that nobody's over their command point limit in Ageod games, and it's worked out fine, and it's done fine for me, and I've been happy with it, and it's made the games much more enjoyable. And that's why, kind of segue into War in the East. That's kind of why when I realized that my command point situation here was bad, I had too many headquarters that were over their command point limit. That's when I realized to get the most of this game, or to get a lot more of this game than what I was getting, was to get that under control, because the penalties for being over the command point limit are just horrendous. You don't, if you saw that battle where I was talking about attacking across the river and it said minus 25% and minus whatever percent, minus 20% or whatever those two units were, they have penalties for attacking across the river. Every unit that has a command point limit problem will be minus 15 or minus 20%, and they just don't. You just can't win battles that way. And if your command point limit's completely out of control, you'll start losing battles you think you should win, where you have, what looks like 100,000 men against 50,000 men, in like Civil War II. Well, you would think that the 100,000 men, if the terrain is clear and everything, that you're going to win. But if your command point limit is screwed up, that 100,000 men could very easily lose a battle. So, I kind of talked about command point limits for about 5 minutes now, and in the supply situation as well. Just to reiterate, you're not going to get everything. You're not going to get the fun out of these games if you don't get that under control. Those two things are, in my opinion, the two largest things that people have trouble getting their hands on and around in the Ageod games, and probably this game as well, to the point where you're not gonna have a lot of success. And losing's fine. Losing can be fun if you're learning something from it, and it's not because you're screwing up constantly. If you're losing every single game you play, then it's going to get to the point where you're not having fun. And so, but like in this game, I'm losing battles, but I'm not losing the war. But even if I was losing the war, if I was learning how to win at the same time I was playing as I'm losing, then it makes it more fun. And I do believe that's what's happening. I've learned so much just by playing. I mean, it's basically 1 year into the quote unquote war. The war started on 6/21/1941, and then out 6/11/1941. So that's pretty much a year of playing. And that's 52 turns, like it says, or just like 52 weeks, 52 turns, because each turn's a week. So I am one year in, and I've learned a lot, even just in these 52 turns. So I just thought I would, talk a little bit, because I didn't want to run an AI turn, even though it's a mud turn, because I thought it would take a long time. So anyway, that will end the episode for now, and I do appreciate everybody watching, and thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.